A tri-state resident is now a New York Times best-selling author. Paris, Missouri native George Hodgman worked in publishing in New York City for years, which included a stint at Vanity Fair. Well, he returned home about 4 years ago to care for his aging but beloved mother, Betty. Hodgman documented their journey together in a book titled Bettyville. The book came out in March and has already won the hearts of readers across the country. It's about caring for an aging parent, the dwindling of small businesses in rural America, but most important, the love and bond between a mother and her son.
It began, I think, as a kind of therapy, and I was just sort of taking things down because I was watching my mother go through things that upset me. That's the way I kind of deal with things.
George Hodgman and his mother Betty have good days and bad days. Betty battles dementia, cancer, and many other ailments, including a broken rib that just happened without warning.
I love my parents so much, and I'm an only child, and I have dreaded their last years all my life.
George's father died in 1997, leaving behind just George and Betty. George packed up his belongings in New York City to return to his hometown after 30-plus years. In his book, he documents how much things have changed in Paris and nearby Madison, Missouri from when he was a boy. Things are different now, he writes. A book I read said 3 things changed rural America: the breakup of the family farm, Walmart, meth. Bettyville uses humor to make light of everyday life, its disappointments, and changes that go with them.
People told me my mother and I were funny together, and I thought that it was a way to write about this subject in a way that it was somewhat entertaining. This is a book that is by somebody who thought he could not get through this. Somebody who thought he couldn't deal with, you know, an aging mother and all her problems and couldn't be a caretaker. That's part of why it's funny, because I don't always succeed in my efforts to get my mother to do what she should.
No biting. No biting.
It's a book about somebody who's just trying his best and may not be perfect at it.
George says Bettyville is also a tribute to his mother, whom he's never loved more.
Kind of in awe of the fact that she keeps on going and tries. This is Missouri. We've got some pretty gutsy old folks, and it's a kind of a tribute to this effort that I see my mother making to hang on. You have to remember all the time that maybe this person is not quite like you remember them, but this person is still a person. It's a matter of always remembering that the woman that you loved is right there inside her, maybe just a little harder to find. Sometimes she's a little girl, sometimes she's the woman I remember when I was in grade school or high school, and you know, they all pass by. I'm grateful to be here to see it.
George says Betty has enjoyed the commotion from Bettyville, which has brought out her friends to book signings and other special events. The book attracts attention from the New York Times, CBS Sunday Morning, Chicago Tribune, and other national media.
I have tried to give an honest picture of this area of the world. I always wanted to kind of explain this area of the world to my friends in New York City and explain what the really good things are here to people who think of it as flyover country. And I've tried to say, in a way, this is my home, this is what I remember, this is what I love.
By the way, that was a cameo by their dog named Raj. Great name. CBS Sunday Morning spent several hours at George and Betty Hodgman's home a couple of weeks ago. No word on when that segment will air, but we'll keep you posted.